My name is Kevin McAleese. I'm with Sand County Foundation. Thank you for inviting a token cheesehead to Austin for the symposium. I wanted to just quickly introduce Sand County Foundation and give a little bit of background as to how this panel came together before we introduce our very competent panelists. Sand County Foundation is private lands conservation organization. We strive to be the nation's leading voice for private lands conservation. We work with farmers, ranchers, foresters to improve water quality, soil health, wildlife habitat. We're inspired by Alda Leopold's writings, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm very grateful to Texan by Nature and NIFWIF for inviting us to be here. Many of you may know Sand County Foundation best through the Leopold Conservation Award, a state-by-state award. We're now presenting in 13 different states. And in Texas, we have partnered with Texas Parks and Wildlife for about 12 years now to recognize outstanding private landowners, often for generations of successful conservation and land protection. And very happy to announce that in 2017, Oklahoma will present its first Leopold Conservation Award to a worthy recipient. As we look across the landscape, it seemed in many ways intuitive that you've got right-of-way corridors with low meadow shrubby lands and providing tremendous potential connectivity that the utility industry, electric transmission, pipelines, railroads, would be ideal partners in this enterprise to recover the monarch butterfly. And there has been some receptivity, but it has been difficult. And I think one of the things that when you look at the overlay of the electric utility corridor up and down the I-35 migratory pathway, and you see its overlap with the monarch butterfly, again, it seems that it would be a slam dunk, essentially, for those partnerships to develop. And so Sand County Foundation, with support from NIFWIF, has been engaging with utilities in the upper Midwest. And I have to say on a personal note, Tina Buford, who's the president, as you know, of Texan by Nature, also sits on the board of Sand County Foundation. And I think she and the organizers of this symposium recognized that there was a perhaps underrepresentation of agriculture, transportation, and industry in the symposium. And Tina was aware that we were working in the upper Midwest on just that very topic. And so she brought me together with the steering committee, and that was the genesis, essentially, of this particular panel. One example of the work we had, I have to back up. I think this has been the most overused slide in the entire symposium, and there ought to be an award for that. It's yours, Chip, isn't it? So one example is Exelon, and Exelon Nuclear has 11 generating stations across the northern part of the U.S., and we worked with them to develop a plan for each of those sites. And they have thousands of acres that they own, and they're restoring hundreds of acres as we speak. So I consider that a success story. So I hope what this panel can do, particularly from the sectors of agriculture, transportation, and energy, is to get us all thinking about creative ways to engage with those sectors. So our panelists are going to speak to ways in which they are already working, and I think probably give us some ideas about ways in which additional partnerships can form. Now, not all wildlife is appropriate to all places, and And I think it's important also for us to understand what some of the limitations and barriers are for businesses and transportation companies and agencies in the work that they do and in the other obligations they have to safety and the environment.